What's going on? Hey, happy New Year to everybody. You know the deal, January 7th. The first show, season 8, Chili's two piece. I cannot believe I've been doing this for 8 years. Shout out to my guy, Gridiron Arizona, producer slash co-host, who's been rocking with me, I think pretty much since like the first episode that I started doing these things every Tuesday, from Periscope to, uh, to YouTube to whatever platform we could find. Make sure that this thing works every Tuesday. Never fails. Doesn't matter where I'm at. Los Angeles, Miami. Shout out to Battle and my guys over there at Tucson Turf, who I know will be out there in Miami getting busy. Actually, going to talk to one of the Tucson Turf ambassadors tonight. I can't wait. One of my favorite humans that has played this game. Been rocking with them for a hot minute. So I know there's going to be some teams out there putting in work. Battle Miami, Battle Vegas, all these battle tournaments. 7-on-7s is a thing, and fully flourishing and popping. I cannot wait. I am super excited. Got a solid show lined up. Got a special guest. Gonna chop it up with him in a minute, and then as you know, inside the number segment, everybody's favorite segment with my guy, Gridiron Arizona, who I found out everybody has been tuned into him for like their entire like football careers, from playing to coaching. To coaching in college. So I think that that is so cool. I found that stuff out at the playoff games, the state championship games, and stuff like that. So super fascinated by that. Speaking of coaching and stuff like that, there's been tons of college coaches running around Arizona. So make sure, guys, that you guys present yourselves properly. Don't be afraid to talk about academics, grades, things like that. Contributions to society outside of the work that you put in on the field. So make sure that you talk to them about the important things too, family life, things like that. Don't be afraid. Always introduce yourself, first name, last name. Let them know what position you want to play and things like that. If you get the chance to talk to some of these guys, like I know my guy, Coach Savage from Colorado State, is running around the city looking for the next 6'4" receiver that runs a 4.2 40. So we'll see how many of those he finds in the valley. Also, the Suns. I'm not sure what's going on with the Suns. I do want to talk about them real quick. They're floating a little bit under 500, a little bit disappointing. Kind of like a lot of sports teams this year in Arizona, um, professional sports teams. I think that Bradley Beal needs to waive his no trade clause, and I think, and I know that that's likely not going to happen, but I think, because he holds all the cards, um, I think that he needs to waive his no trade clause. And I think that the Suns need to tell him, Bradley, you waive your no trade clause. One, you are going to get a championship ring if we win and get Jimmy Butler and we win this championship. But two, we are going to put you in the ring of honor for making the ultimate sacrifice, leaving our team, going to play in Miami, which playing in Miami isn't so bad. And you know what? You can ask anybody that's going to be playing for Tucson Turf, because they're going to get the chance to go play in Miami here in about a little more than a week, and they'll let you know. Miami weather, absolutely fantastic. Not as fantastic as Arizona, but pretty fantastic still. Um, but yeah, I think that they should put him in the ring of honor and make that commitment to him, because dude, our window is closing. Booker, Durant, like all these guys. I love the Dunn kid and a lot of these pieces that they picked up, but Bradley needs to, how is it that two players in the NBA have no trade clauses? LeBron James and Bradley Beal. How did Bradley Beal get that deal? That is absolutely insane to me. Bradley, make the sacrifice. Make the sacrifice. Also, the Cardinals. So I don't know what happened. I feel like just like 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the Cardinals being like 6-4 at the top of their division, and possibly getting into the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they crumbled, and I was super disappointed. Um, Also, anybody that shoots me the hook'em emoji, you're getting blocked for all of 2025, at least until ASU's football season starts again. You're getting blocked, 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 blocked. Like Dikembe Mutombo, blocked. Like a Coach Tuatele offensive lineman, you're blocked, 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 blocked. So there's that. Sun Devils had an absolutely amazing year. I'm gonna get to catch up with one of these Sun Devils in a minute. Um, but what Coach Dillingham has been able to do in activating the Valley, he's fully succeeded. He said that he wanted to do it. A lot of people had their doubts. A lot of people tried to throw the sly little jokes in behind the scenes or whatever about activating the ballot, and he fully did that. It was such an exciting year, and we were all so grateful that we got to witness this. Cam Scatterbo, the people's Heisman. I absolutely love that. He got recognized. People fell in love with him, his game, the passion that he plays with, um, his story, and I think that it's absolutely amazing. My man had 42 touchdowns, and I said that me and Gridiron would break that down one of these days. We will. Me and Gridiron are going to go inside the numbers on Cam Scatterbo and the things that he did this year at some point. I'm not sure when, but 42 touchdowns is absolutely insane. I want to see. I actually just want to see if I can get Cam to join the show while we do that and talk to him about it. But without further ado, I do got to bring on a special guest. I cannot wait to talk to him. Super talented, 7-on-7 legend himself. Currently playing at ASU. You guys can pretty much guess because he is a friend of the show. Coming up in a second here, my guy, coach of Tucson Turf, wide receiver over there at ASU, Coben Bourguet, also said that he can hit a softball. We're going to find out if he's going to do some training and try to figure this thing out because Flight Club's coming up soon, and I might have to have that be a special event just to see if we can actually do it. Just hang out for a second. Bringing up Coben Bourguet next. Hang out with your boy. Cobe, how you doing, man?
Good. Good, Chili. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Last time I talked to you, you made waves, saying that you could hit a knock out a softball out the park. One pitch, one take, and we were all jaw dropped. We think that it's a difficult task. You still exhibiting the same confidence?
I think I need to reconsider what I was saying. I think I need a few more pitches, a little more practice under my belt. That is a daunting task to ask for. I will say, college softball pitchers are no joke.
Did you try? I mean, I know you're close to some of the college softball players and stuff like that. I know some have reached out to you. Maybe did you try? Did you take a look? Like, did you get behind the plate and watch one of those softballs rising?
I haven't since we spoke, but I am well aware of how much speed and velocity is behind that ball. And my girlfriend, being a college softball player, she let me know. I mean, it's not as easy
Yachty!
as I think it is.
Man, hey, listen, I loved it though. I love the confidence. That's traditional Coben. Look, big thing is Miami's coming up in a couple weeks. Me and my guy Gridiron, we're actually going to break down the Turf national roster shortly after this interview segment. But I'm curious, coaching Turf, and most likely you're going to take on most of the responsibility yourself. What can we expect from this year's Turf brand, Turf team?
Yeah, just speaking specifically on the national squad for high school, this is just like the other years, a very competitive team. The core of our team has been together since they were probably 8 years old playing flag
Okay.
football, now transitioning into the high school level, and they're making a wave as we saw this last fall. Our class of 27s is a big group, so we do have some 26s that are returning from last year from the national team that are going to make some noise like they did last season, and putting those two classes together is going to make for a strong team. And yeah.
Hey, when Tucson Turf originally started, it was literally all kids from the Tucson area. As you guys have grown and expanded, and the brand has gone crazy, you guys have picked up players from the Phoenix area, and then now even nationally from other states. Iowa, Utah, all over the place, Louisiana. Can you dive into that a little bit? What it's like picking up some of these guys outside the Tucson area when everybody's like, "Oh, Tucson Turf, they're not really Tucson anymore. They forgot about their roots." Like, because people be like low key hating.
Yeah, I mean, people like to throw shade on the name Tucson Turf not being all Tucson, but it's a testament to we're a national brand. We're not just
Facts.
located in one city. So our exposure and our brand reaches cities that are way beyond just the state of Arizona. And we have the opportunity to compete against the best. And in order to beat the best, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And that's something that if there's an opportunity for someone to play with us and they fit our mantra of what we're looking for and they have that right attitude and the effort that we're looking for and we don't accept everybody. If we said yes to everybody, we need about 100 teams. And so it's still a very select few from out of state that can play for us. And then even expanding from Tucson to Phoenix is that all started because we had cousins in Phoenix. And so
Right.
we had myself, my brothers and cousins here in Tucson, picked up a cousin and his friend from Phoenix, and then we're rolling with 5 people to a 5-man flag tournament. And then that just expanded to, there's a lot more pool. There's a bigger pool in Phoenix as well. And so combining Tucson and Phoenix is what got the ball rolling. And then the national scene just kind of came as a result of just naturally the exposure of when we would go state to state and people would see our brand. And now it is truly a national brand.
Hey, it's no secret. You guys are like the first family of sevens. Obviously, like I've always said that Trenton, at least in my experience of covering, is definitely on like the Mount Rushmore of sevens players. Definitely one of the goats. But um, you yourself, Trenton and Trayson, also all giving back, coaching the team, playing Division I football. How much of your own Division I experience do you share with these kids? Because you don't see a lot of Division I football players coaching, uh, taking the time to coach sevens because you guys have crazy schedules, which we'll get into in a second. How much of what you guys go through on the daily do you share with the kids that play for you?
I try to pour back as much as I can to all the levels of our program, all the way from 18U when I'm coaching our national team, all the way to the youngest of the 6U with my little cousins and their friends on it, and whatever's applicable for those age groups. And so I'm not telling them all the same word for word kind of speech, but just something that I noticed that, hey, I've been in your shoes. This is where I'm at now, and here's what I would do differently, or this is something to just be aware of. And if I can help them take the next step at whatever level they're going to be playing at, or wherever they're at currently, I want to help out just because I have that experience. I'm not saying I'm all knowing and I know what's the best for each person, but I've experienced a lot of things that most people haven't had the opportunity to. And so now with the ability to give back to where I literally came from and played for, it's really a blessing that not too many people get to experience.
No, for sure, man. Hey, also, look, you've given so much back to the community. The community has started to give back to you. You got all these NIL opportunities, and I want to show love to some of them real quick. Burrito Express, home of the best breakfast burritos in the country. In the country. The golf course, I think it's like Whirlwind or something like that.
Yep,
And then
whirlwind.
the e-bikes thing. Who else is involved with Coben Bourguet right now in you guys' brand?
Yeah, so some more of our great partners. So that's Magnum e-bikes. That's in Scottsdale. That's the electric bikes, and then we have Mountain America. They're the name of the
Oh,
ASU
that's right. I seen
stadium.
the
So that's a
commercial.
big one. Yep. And then Texas Roadhouse in Tempe, right there by the IKEA and Dick's Sporting Goods off the freeway.
I love that.
We have the marina at Bartlett Lake. That's one of our big partners. We
Okay.
go out to the lake in the summers and in the spring. So they always show love. And Native Grill and Wings in Tempe as well.
Best wings ever.
Oh,
Best wings
best
ever.
wings,
That place.
super
I
fire.
you can't beat native. And the ranch over there, I swear that ranch at a wing place is made differently than it is anywhere else because like I get that stuff like from the supermarket and it does not taste the same at all for the wings. And what has the NIL adventure been like for you?
It's really just about building those relationships and partnerships past just athletic ability and what you can get out of someone or something. And so to make it a mutual partnership and having the interest of both parties. And so for me and my family, it's about what can we do to impact as many people as possible, whether that's fan engagement or including as many of the teammates and coaches as we can. Um, all these partners of ours have been more than willing to help us out and our family and friends. And so that's what's the lasting impact, not how many views are you going to get after you score a touchdown and throw I don't know, your t-shirt that has their logo on it. That's not what they're looking after. It's what can we do to help out as many people as possible and benefit both parties. So it's really a quid pro quo type of deal.
Okay. Hey, listen, ASU wide receiver, Coben Bourguet, Tucson Turf legend, 7-on-7 legend. If I don't ask some of these ASU questions, my bosses are going to say that I'm not doing my job. Look, you got to play in the Peach Bowl. You got to, ASU was at the Peach Bowl and stuff. You got to play in the game. Playing in Atlanta at your friend Bijan's house. I got to know, did he leave any gifts for you? I don't know, maybe like a jersey or anything cool. Like, did he find out like where you and Trenton's locker were, and it was like, hey, look, I gotta bless my boys. They're playing in my house. Any welcoming gifts from him?
So it's kind of crazy, but with the Falcons potentially being able to make the playoffs, he wasn't even able to go to the game. And so
Oh, dang.
he had shot a long text to us before the game, and the week leading up to it, just keeping in touch, because they practice 45 minutes from like downtown. They're out of the city,
Okay.
so they don't deal with any of the chaos like that. But with playoffs being on the line, they didn't even care that Texas was there. He couldn't go to the game, but we kept in touch. He sent a long text, just before the game, and sending a prayer with each other, and just keeping in touch with me and Trenton and Trayson, because my whole family was there. But
Yeah.
to be back in that stadium in Atlanta in 2019, where we won the Nationals for Pylon with me and Trayson and Bijan and Mo Harris, a lot of those OG turf players, it was a full circle moment, because it's like the last time I played on this exact field was my last 7-on-7 game ever. And so
Dang.
also the home of Bijan, where he ended up getting drafted 4 years
Yeah.
later, 3 years later, whatever it is. And it's just a crazy full circle moment, because it's like we've already been on this field, we've already played in this facility, this stadium, and so it's still crazy to see the stands packed out and the noise that was made. But yeah, it was surreal to be back where we were in 2019.
Hey, I don't want to make too big of a deal of this, but I am curious, and people have asked, and I was like, I don't know. I'm guessing that are they thinking the same way that we do? In the moment of any big call, targeting the targeting call or whatever, are you guys looking at that and like, oh, we definitely got this. We're gonna score, and it's a done deal, or like, do you go through the stresses of it because like you have no idea how these refs are gonna make this call because they are humans also.
Yeah, and in the moment of that specific targeting call, my first reaction to that was like saying a prayer for my guy Melquan Stovall, who was on the ground. That's my roommate. That's one of my best friends on the team. And so with a hit like that and a targeting call that's as impactful as that moment in the game, my first thought was praying for Melquan, but it was almost like a instant reaction, like that's targeting. That's textbook targeting. And it probably wasn't on live television, but when they replayed it in the stadium, the whole stands, the entire crowd, ASU section started cheering. It was loud, like celebrating. This was before the call was confirmed. It was being reviewed. Everyone thought it was done deal, in the bag. 15 yards from that, we know there's like 40 seconds left. We're going to get in field goal range and win the game. And so for it to not go that way, it's just one of those subjective things to where you don't leave the game in the ref's hands. And so it's not one play that the refs decided the game. There's more factors than that. But it definitely was something that we thought as a team was going to be a no-brainer, and it's just one of those scenarios where you don't leave the judgment of the refs to dictate the game.
Hey, I do got to ask you some things. I'm so curious. Like, you're so obviously part of the program and stuff like that. You get to play and do all the cool things. You know, what's it been like to watch some of these moments over the last few years, like your brother's win versus Washington, you know, one, and Scadaboo's amazing year and the year that you guys have had, and catching the pass from your brother against U of A. Like, what has some of that stuff been like for you?
Honestly, I've said it to some of my family and friends when they ask the same question, and it's like a movie. And trying to take it all in one moment at a time. And I made a deal with myself that the trip to Atlanta, I'm going to try to take as many videos and pictures just to save it, because I have kind of been caught in the moment of like, wow, I wish I would have like taking a little more in or taking a step back, just to know that I'm in the moment right now. This isn't something that wait till I get here or wait till this happens. And so looking back at the last 4 seasons of being at ASU and through all the ups and downs and the special feelings that I've been able to share with my brother and my family to be able to be at these games. It's something that I'm going to carry with me with my own family and my own kids in the future. And so to have the jerseys from the Washington game, and to have, the gloves that I wore when Trenton threw me the pass at the U of A game, those are some of the things that are invaluable. Like that's priceless. And so to be able to have that stuff and gift our parents the game ball from the U of A game that Trenton threw to me and then threw a touchdown with the next play, to gift them that on Christmas Day, is it's as special as it
Oh, that's
gets.
legit. That's
Yeah.
so legit. Last thing, look, Coben, well, second to last thing. I'm curious, full season with Hines Ward now, because the last time I talked to you, he was kind of just hired and you guys just went through some off-season stuff preparing for the season. But now you have a full season with him. What's that been like for you dealing with an absolute legend? How has that impacted your style of play and as a coach, like yourself, like how you coach these kids with turf and things like that?
I use all of it to my advantage as much as I can. And so having the player background of obviously being on the team, and then when I coach in sevens, I try to look at it from a coach's perspective of how he's approaching things, how he approaches the coaching job. And so to learn from someone that's been there at the highest level and achieved most things that people can't, it's something that I can take something away from him as often as I can and try to add to my toolkit. And he has a lot of sayings and a lot of stories that he likes to give to us in the receiver room, and just keep it with us. And so to
Anything
have
that you can
someone like that
share?
in our corner,
Wait, any sayings that you can share with us?
yeah, it's you can't have championship dreams with playground habits. And I think someone quoted that on Twitter in the last week or two, but that's been written on our in our room since he got hired. And it just goes to say,
Legit.
like, you can't expect big things with no preparation and no work. It's going to take work to get where you want to go. And so that saying of you can't have championship dreams with playground habits, it pretty much fits for whatever you want to do. If you're going to go for that big job, you can't expect to be promoted by not putting in the hours, or you can't expect to get anywhere in life if you're just going to be sitting on your butt all day. And so just that standard and the culture that he raised the bar in our room with, it's exactly how you would imagine a coach like that would be. And he's not someone that's yelling and screaming at you and cursing at you. He's real. He's the same guy every day, and he approaches everything with just getting better every day. And that growth mindset that he brought to the room was impactful.
Man, I love that. Hey, listen, I'm gonna let you go right after this, but I got to make sure that we got this down. The Trenton Bourguet Classic, aka Flight Club, taking place. The date has changed, June 28th. I think because it's now the Trenton Bourguet Classic slash Flight Club, I think that you have to be Grand Marshal with your brother Trayson, so you can commit for both of you guys. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
know you
only
got a
right
busy
that we'll be able
schedule.
to run it 30 years
Yeah,
in a
you
row,
know
that
the
we'll be
deal.
out there grand marshaling and bigger and better every year.
Yeah, for sure. Last year we had 40 teams. Not sure if we're gonna have 40 this time, but I do have some teams that have reached out that say that they want a piece of this, that they want to dive into it. Coben, I really appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate everything that you've done with me, with Flight Club, and all that. And hope to catch up with you down the line sometime during this off season, maybe right before spring ball. Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you always, Chili.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy. You take care. Hey, up next, I do got my guy Gridiron. So we're definitely make sure you stay tuned. Go because we're gonna be talking about this Tucson Turf national team and how loaded it is.
Yes, sir.
Forks up, you know the deal. The one and only, the most handsomest person in Arizona sports media, according to our
You just
very
had
own
a guy with
Eric Newman.
all kinds of sponsorship stuff and a softball girlfriend there. I don't know if I can even take the crown for tonight.
Oh, come on, Gridiron, you're in a league of your own. I literally remember being at the championship game with you and the coaches from NAU, and them
Yeah,
talking about how they've been following you for like 20 years, and
yeah,
they
he
look.
aged me a little bit there.
I was like, yo, dude.
I
I was
can
like,
remember.
for real? I was, dude. They were telling me about how legendary you were, and Gridiron. I'm just so grateful that you spend your Tuesdays hanging out with me,
Yeah,
discussing.
season 8 here of the two piece. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, happy New Year to you. Anything cool? Did you do anything for amateur night, or did you stay and play
Oh
low
no,
key?
oh yeah, we just stay home for New Year's Eve. Yeah, that's for sure. There shortly after midnight, I could hear all the booms, and I could look out the window and see 5 different firework displays in the neighborhood, and the booms were still going on a good hour later. So
Well, well, at least you're not on Instagram where everybody's putting on their stories that 2025 is their year and they're going to make it so much better for the 10th year in a row, as if the past 9 years didn't really work out for them. So, Gridiron, I love that you're not on Instagram because you don't have to deal with that.
I missed out on that one.
But it's all good. All right, but what is back is inside the numbers, the most important segment in Arizona high school football, and kind of branching out a little bit, just because we are talking about this amazing Tucson Turf team that I'm super excited to share. We got the early roster. I'm going to share on the traditional. Even though it's a new year,
Oh, look at that!
it's not a new yellow pad. The yellow pad stays the same. This team is crazy loaded. 3 quarterbacks. They're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. That has me fascinated. Quarterbacks: Christian Escobedo, Kanan Mana, and Colton Meyer. I'm going to run through the roster real quick, and then I'm going to let you break down some of the guys that you feel like stood out to you when I sent you the roster. Those three kids, Kane Mana took his Centennial team to the Open Division Championship as a sophomore, was crazy on the National 7 circuit last year with Jackson Knutson and Tucson Turf, and then took his team to the 6A Conference Championship at Sun Devil Stadium, won that thing, and he's got himself a heavy ring. Colton Meyer took his team into the Open with Desmond Roebuck, also another Tucson Turf lifer. And then Escobedo was hot on the camp scene, didn't play a ton at Mountain Point. I know he got in the playoff game a little bit, I believe. But, a lot of us are excited to see how his situation develops over there. Now, these receivers, they're loaded with athletes. Khalil Bender, now at ALA Queen Creek. Christian Diaz over there at Basha. Braxton Wynn, the super talented receiver, 27 kid over there at Liberty. Braylon Casper, now also at ALA Queen Creek. An absolutely phenomenal talent. Talon Scott at ALA Queen Creek.
Loaded receiver room the second half of the year over there for the Patriots, aren't they?
It's going to be crazy. What's it called? Noah Kanyes from Tucson. Gabriel Diaz, defensive back over there at Basha. Zarek Sidney, wide receiver over there at Desert Edge, who is absolutely spectacular and had a solid playoff run. Mikael Davis from Desert Edge. Lincoln Hansen from Basha. Sincere King from Micah Mountain. Got some Tucson love in there, at least a couple of these guys, right? Sean Boyd.
Counted 4 on the roster from Southern Arizona.
Yeah, Sean Boyd from Williamsfield, Trey Smith from Williamsfield, Josiah Smith, one of the imports from Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Kennedy High School, Jashawn Mayberry from Lone Peak, Tavita Monga from Lone Peak, and then Dennis Tuaone from Timpview. All three of those kids, those last kids from Utah. Hey, this team is absolutely going to be bonkers. I know that you selected a few guys that you wanted to spotlight. Not an inside the number spotlight though.
Right.
But I'm gonna let you go ahead and share.
Well, a quick overview. Tucson Turf, of course, started by Toby Bourguet, who we'll just call Coben's dad. Started in 2007. Over 100 championships in tournaments. They've won championships in New Mexico, the Arizona Cardinals, Pylon Vegas, Irvine, California. They've won the Pylon National Championship in both Dallas and Atlanta. You got any others you want to throw on there? I know there's won some battle championships.
Yeah, they were last year's. I believe that they were last year's Zort's national champion.
Yep, they had
presented by Ray Lewis or something like that. I think it was Ray
had
Lewis
like a poll that they did, with like the old college football voting kind of thing. And they voted Tucson Turf. I believe it was like late in the summer, around August, after everyone had their 7th season, and Tucson was ranked number 1 for last year's team. Just some of the alums that have gone through there: Stanley Berryhill, now in the CFL, Trenton Bourguet, Hendricks Johnson, Jamari Joyner, Coleman Owen, Merlin Robertson, Bijan Robinson. Taheem Waleed and Desmond Roebuck, just some of the guys that have done their off-season training and preseason work over there for Tucson Turf.
Hey, Gridiron, don't forget. I don't know. I didn't hear you mentioned the Jacoby Lane, Kylie Casper, Michael Masunas also. So
yep, I didn't have all the more recent guys. I kind of went a little further back on most of them, but yes, Jacoby Lane, certainly over there with Tucson.
He's pretty good.
Yep. And I believe he got offers just from Sevens play, if I recall, from back his summer before his junior year, I believe, at the ASU.
Yes.
He pulling down some one-handed balls. Looking at a couple of the quarterbacks here, we got Sugar Cane, Kanan Mana from
Sugar Cane.
He's a junior right now, 5'9", 160, a 2-year starter for the Coyotes. His 2024 season, 2,366 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. He has 47 varsity touchdown passes, was an open finalist in 23, a 6A champ in 24, had 355 passing yards and 2 TDs in that title game against Mountain View that they won. Works with Coach Gio, Mike Giovando. He dispels the myth that you have to be 6 foot to play quarterback, right? A proven winner. Another of the quarterbacks, you got Colton Meyer from Another junior, 6'1", 180, 2-year varsity, been on varsity for the Tigers for 2 years, kind of shared snaps as a sophomore, started last year, and had 3,687 passing yards last season, 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He has 44 varsity TD passes, was, of course, a 2024 Open Division quarterfinalist, had 6 games with 300 or more passing yards, and that was out of 11 that Marana played. 2 games with 400 or more passing, and with a high of 470 against Canyon del Oro, was the 5A Southern Region Offensive Player of the Year, completed 74% of his passes. So not only did he have all that passing yardage, but he had accuracy as well, was the regular season big school passing yardage leader.
Man, this offense for Turf is going to be crazy loaded.
Yeah, we'll look at some receivers here. You got Khalil Bender, who is over at ALA Queen Creek now for next season. He's a junior right now, 6 foot 165. Was a 2-year starter at McClintock. Announced his transfer to ALA QC in December. Last season, 64 catches, 1,000 yards on the button, 9 touchdowns with 11 total TDs. Had his second straight 1,000-yard season, and he has 20 varsity TD catches. Had a game against Marcos Deniza early in the season, 8 catches, 167 yards, and 2 TDs. He's also a two-way player. Had 6 interceptions last season, so can play both ways on that Tucson Turf team, because obviously, as you mentioned, with that roster, you got a lot of receivers. He can impact both the ball. You got Braxton Wynn over at Liberty. He's a sophomore, 5'11", 175, led the Lions in all 3 receiving categories his first year on varsity.
Triple Crown.
His 2024 season had 65 catches, 1,094 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He scored a TD in 9 of the Lions games this season. In the regular season game against Mountain View, he had 6 catches, 168 yards, and 3 TDs. So he kind of put his name out there early. That was an early game for Liberty. It was a first-team All 6A conference performer as well. We'll look at, is it Zarek Sidney or is Zarek Sidney? Because I've heard
Zarek.
Okay, good, because when I was on TV, I said Zarek, and then a week later, I heard someone saying Zarek, and
no, they're saying it wrong.
So
they're saying it wrong.
Zarek Sidney, the sophomore over at Desert Edge, 6 foot 170, also played in 4 varsity games as a freshman. His season last year, 45 catches, 591 yards, 11 touchdowns. 2023 was a 5A finalist. And then, of course, in 2024, a 5A champ. Scored 7 of those 11 TDs during the Scorpions playoff run. They have a new offensive coordinator over there at Desert Edge now, Josh Goodlow, the former Paradise Honors head coach. And we remember what they did over there at Paradise Honors in terms of the offense and dialing it up, and with Gage Baker. So it'll be exciting to see what Sidney can do over there with the returning quarterback Blake Roscoff the next 2 seasons. But Zarek has fast routes, has the hands. He can catch it in traffic. He's elusive. Already has 7 offers, including Arizona, Arizona State, Cal, and Washington. We got Trey Smith from Williamsfield, a sophomore, 6 foot 160, averaged 18 yards per catch as a sophomore, so a big play receiver. His 2024 had 18 catches for 329 yards. They did make the 6A playoffs last season, and he had a 78-yard TD catch against Red Mountain, has a 3.5 GPA, and was clocked at 4.43 for the 40 at a U of A camp last summer. Trey is enthusiastic and passionate about the game. Looking at a guy who played running back last season, but kind of got his start as a receiver, obviously be catching passes in sevens. And that's Noah Chanez for Tucson. He's a junior, Tucson High, 5'7", 160, has 3 years of varsity experience for the Badgers. His 2024, they kind of moved him to a running back, had 855 rush yards and 9 TDs, but he still also had 29 catches for 377 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving. He scored 15 TDs on the year because he also had 3 kickoff return TDs. Was used more as a receiver his freshman and sophomore year. Played varsity ball as a freshman. Has 92 career catches, 1,242 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Was a 2024 5A quarterfinalist. Had a game against Ironwood Ridge this year. 7 catches, 136 yards, and a rushing TD. 3.8 GPA, and he trained with Stanley Berryhill, the former Tucson Turf player, over winter break. And then one defensive guy we got to throw out there is Lincoln Hansen over at Basha. He's a junior, 6'75". Started his high school career at Chandler. Played a full season at Basha last year. 76 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 5 pass breakups. Was a 2024 Open finalist. Had 14 tackles in a win against Brophy this season, plus a fumble recovery and a forced fumble.
Certified problem. Hey, look, this team is so loaded, especially offensively. Tucson Turf always packs a punch, and they got 4 of the top 5, top 6, 7 receivers in the 27 class on one team. Braxton Wynn, Braylon Casper, Sean Roebuck, Zarek Sidney. This is absolutely bonkers. And then the quarterback experience. I don't know how they're going to juggle 3, but Colton Myers.
Times when they have the tournaments that are out of state and stuff, not everybody can make it. So maybe only 2 quarterbacks, make a trip, and of course you got to play multiple games in one day. So
yeah, I know these 3 quarterbacks. I've never known them to miss an opportunity to travel nationally. Mm-hmm. So Coco, Sugar Cane, K1. I think
we mentioned
yeah. Escobedo has been there for almost every national tournament that Tucson Turf has played in for the younger teams. He's won battle championships in Houston. I believe
he's a 27, right?
And he's a 27. So look, I'm excited for these guys. I'm sure that so they got
definitely want to get him reps, because most likely he's your main
next guy
quarterback the next year.
For sure. For sure. Show them what the big time looks like. But this team is super loaded. And Jashawn Mayberry, super talented receiver over there at Lone Peak. His older, I think it's his older brother. His older brother was on the team last year, and he had like 12 interceptions for like Lone Peak. He was a defensive back. So like he's just dropping back and stealing everything from
for his high school team. He had 12
yeah, I think he had 12 picks last year, or he had 12 picks as a junior. Mm-hmm. But my man's was taking everything that was in the air. So Sincere King, super talented kid over there at Micah Mountain.
Yep.
As all of us know, handled that business in that 4A championship, undefeated year. Coach Nugent, so super well coached. Hey, this team, I mean, it's 7s, right? And I know that some people are of the mind like, I hate 7s or whatever, but it's a part of the game, and so we're going to cover it and we're going to show the love. So we're going to do what we can do to support. Also, Gridiron being the official numbers guy for Flight Club, he's going to get familiar with some of these names and some of these teams, even though these are the all-star teams. But he wants to know who's doing what and where. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine that there's going to be too many teams locally or nationally that can compete. But you know what? We do got a couple teams that we're going to go over the next few weeks that I'm super excited about. But Gridiron, you got to be thinking with everything that you said.
Does Tucson do they start this weekend with their first tournament or no?
I believe Tucson Turf starts their first tournament, Battle Miami, which is the 7th. The 17th.
Not this week.
10 days.
The next one. Okay.
Yeah. So they'll be going out to Miami.
Day weekend and the Martin Luther King Day weekend.
Yeah. So they'll be out there for that. And look, they're coming off of a national championship. I'm pretty sure that they want to run that thing back
from those other national teams.
I think this is so. I think like unofficially, this is like their 4th. This last year was their 4th unofficially, because they won the one that Coben was talking about with Trenton way back in the day at the Georgia Dome, at the then Georgia Dome. Then they won the did they win? I think Trayson going into Trayson's senior year, they won that year. And for some reason, I thought that they had back to back somewhere in there. And then what's it called? Last year. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that this is unofficially their fourth because I think that because of the pandemic, nobody was really
Yeah, I don't. I can't
qualifying
see
national
them really
championships and
doing
stuff like
much
that.
with
So
sevens in 2020. Yeah.
yeah, so it was tough. So like if but it is what it. Look, I'm just here to report the news, right? So there's that. Gridiron. What are some look? It is 7th season, camp season, showcase season, all on the horizon. What are some things that you're looking forward to from some of our football athletes seeing on the Twitter timelines and stuff like that? What are some things that Gridiron looks for besides the offers?
I mean, you look for the highlights. You look for winning, winning or showing well at the national tournaments for the clubs. Looking forward to seeing if some high schools, kind of form a team that has a lot of the same guys that'll be playing together. Get a little bit of cohesion with them for that before they head into spring ball in May.
Okay. Hey, look, real quick, I do want to touch on, we're not going to go too far into detail with this, but I do have Tucson Terps, young guys. I want to show them a little bit of love. And
How do we
since you don't
define?
ever coach,
Talking
15U, 15U.
Are we
So
going?
yeah, so this is their young guys. Super talented roster over here. Kai Knutson, Dylan Cooper. I believe Dylan Cooper is coming in over there at ALA Queen Creek as a quarterback. Kai Knutson is a super talented quarterback over there at I believe it's Brophy. They got Kendra Bourguet, freshman over there at Sal Point. I got to watch him work this year. Cole Anderson, I believe that's ALA Queen Creek. Absolute stud. Julian and Jalen Singleton, I believe that they are over there at Queen Creek. I got to watch them work as they put it on. I believe it was Perry.
Kai
Jalen,
is a freshman right now.
what's up?
Kai just had his freshman season at Brophy.
Yeah, at Brophy, and he was a stud. Jalen Flores is an absolute dog over there at Desert Edge. Julian Ferrari also over there at Brophy, an absolute stud. Emran Bourguet, young fella, from the youngest Bourguet. So I'm super.
Wow.
What's up? Yeah, so
There's
I'm
more.
super excited to watch him work.
Didn't know if
Yeah.
we were hitting the end of them or not.
No, this is it. These are the last two. These are the last two. Brody Wynn, who I'm gonna guess is Braxton's little brother, who's gonna be over there at I'm guessing Liberty. Daryl Little, I think that he's over there at Thunderbird. Um, let's see, Carter Clay Meyer.
Is Elijah's younger brother?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. And then what's it called? Nakai Lambeth, another talented kid from Desert Edge. This team is loaded with dogs. So like be on the lookout. We're gonna. I mean, this is. I just wanted to share this.
We get busy during the season, of course. Talking about varsity and stuff like that. But the Brophy freshman team there, which I'm assuming Kai Knudsen led during the season.
Yeah. Sure did.
They went 7-1, only losing to Centennial during the season. They had a win over Basha. They had win over Perry, win over Notre Dame. So they had and they put up a lot of points too. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their 8 games. They put up over 40 points.
Well, yeah, because Knudsen was putting that thing up for Ferrari, and Ferrari like, running under that thing and
Perfect
making the
name
catch.
for a receiver there, isn't it?
Yeah, you know the deal, man. Super talented kid. That team looks like I'm fully expecting that they're going to win a lot of games. Hey, before we get too far away, I do want to know your thoughts on the Suns right now. They're floating under 500. Bradley Beal. I said earlier that I think the Suns need to cut a deal with him. One, he would get a ring anyways because of the percentage of games or number of games that he's played with the Suns or was on the roster or something like that. If the Suns won and he was traded, right?
Come on, man.
You never know. Look, if they can trade him and get Jimmy Butler back, he would win a ring when the Suns win because Jimmy Butler would help the Suns. Yeah, no, you don't think so?
I mean, it'd be a chemistry issue. Would find out. I mean, maybe for a little while he'd cook for him. I don't know. I
All
look
he
at
needs is a little while. We only have him for half a season, so.
well, I would hope that they're not trading for guy for a rental contract. I don't know what's the Jimmy Butler contract. Is he only for? Was he a free agent after this season? So they just have him
He's got 2 years this year
I
and
was
one
gonna
more year.
hope
I
he's got
thought.
more than just this year. If you were going to trade for him, and I know you'd kind of have to trade Beal to make the dollars work, just
For sure.
because of how much Beal. I'd be amazed that there'd be another team that would want to take on the Bradley Beal contract. But he scored 25 last night coming off the bench. Tonight, not so good. That our guy Ralph was watching firsthand out there in Charlotte. He scored 10 points tonight, was 5 of 13 shooting with a minus 21 against a Hornets team that came in 20 games under 500. Suns did lose tonight by 11 points, playing second on a back-to-back.
So you're saying that if the Suns do trade, if the Suns could somehow convince Beal to waive his no trade clause and bring Jimmy Butler in, you don't think that the Suns would take off?
I don't think they're going to win a championship. No.
Oh, come on. You got to have some faith. Listen, I'm trying to have some faith in you. I can't have more faith in your team than you have.
We're a couple games out of just making the play-in tournament right now.
Look, Jimmy Butler comes in, all that is fixed. JB. You know how he gets down.
It depends on what nights he wants to play, I think.
Well, he doesn't want to play any nights with the Heat right now. So, I mean, as long as you're getting Jimmy Butler from the bubble, I think that you're okay.
Yeah, there we are. They are they're okay. They're only well, with a loss tonight. They're a game and a half behind the 10 seed. So
look, all they got to do is look. You get Jimmy Butler. All you have to do is get an opportunity to make the playoffs. Jimmy Butler makes everything better.
Jimmy Butler has gone from the 8 seed to the NBA Finals a couple times. Yeah, that's
so
true.
you gotta be impressed with the prospect of getting a talent like that.
You would have a puncher's chance, but you'd also have to hope that the KD and Booker stay healthy, which they haven't been able to do either. So
listen, Butler, Booker, and KD as your quote unquote big three for the playoff run, I like that a lot better than Beal, Booker, and KD for a playoff run.
Certainly the way, from what we've seen in the last season and a half, yes.
I just don't like Beal much at all. Listen, it's not that I don't like Beal much at all.
He's fragile.
Yes, he's prone to getting injured, and we dealt with that already with Paul. And when I say we, I mean like as a person that supports your son's fandom and the people's Suns fandom, like we just need to get a situation where we don't have a star player that is so impactful hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm. And they thought they built some more depth this year heading into the season, but we haven't necessarily seen it since they were playing shorthanded. So.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Enough about the Suns. How do you fix your Cardinals? Is there any fixing? Do you have to move on from Kyler Murray? Do you feel like you have to move on from Kyler?
I think they should bring in a veteran to challenge him next year. Today, Gannon said Kyler's our number one for next season. Kind of cut it off there. I don't know who you would get that you think is better than
Kirk Cousins. Would you bring in Kirk Cousins?
No, we don't need Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the reason that Atlanta didn't make the playoffs. His last 5 games, he had 1 touchdown and 9 picks, and he threw 16 picks for the season. And if they'd have gone to Penix earlier, they'd have probably made the playoffs. But he, they need to bring in some kind of veteran presence to, if nothing. Kyler's never been challenged from day one when he was drafted. For every time that he's been healthy, he's always been the number one. He's never had to fight for his job here. And I think it would help to be able to see that. From the draft, they need a pass rusher, but they're not going to until pick 16 because they went and scored 47 points against the Niners and won another game. So,
okay. All right. And I know that you're a heavy NAU supporter, but you try to support ASU as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
the Valley was fully activated this year.
Incredible run, yeah. And all the starters are back. This is something you have to watch for in college football.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that all of your players are going to come
Tyson.
back. And in ASU's case, the portal closed last night, and I want to say they have 16 returning starters when you combine offense and defense that are all going to be back, and including, of course, the quarterback Sam Levitt. And my goodness, I mean, I think you would expect that they're going to be like a preseason top 10 team next year, and they're not going to be under the radar and having to surprise people and having to have half of America see Cam Scatabo for the first time on New Year's Day and go, oh, this guy was pretty good. Maybe we should have invited him to New York. Everybody in the Valley knew it, of course, but
he definitely should have gotten the invite to New York. Definitely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hey, Gridiron, in your own humble opinion, as a person that's watched a lot of football in his time, breaking down numbers the way that you do, what are your thoughts on the Ashton Jeanty versus Cam Scatabo conversation?
Jeanty's numbers were
mind-boggling.
They were, I want to say, heading into the bowl game, they were like number 3 all time or something like that for a single season. I mean, yeah, you can say the competition was a little bit less in the Mountain West than the Big 12. It's not that big. It's not that big a jump though.
Oh, come on. It's not that big of a jump. It's a weekly jump though.
There is a difference. I mean, he did run for like 200 yards against Oregon too.
He did.
So he didn't just do it against lower competition, and
for sure.
The ASU's non-conference schedule was kind of similar to what the Mountain West was, right? I mean, they had Wyoming in there, and they had Mississippi State, which was the bottom team in the SEC, and
still an SEC team though. Still an SEC team.
But I mean, still is the competition was less than a Power 4 defenses that he was seeing every week. But I think I would have voted Jeanty above Scatabo if we were looking at
That's honest and fair.
Voting, yeah.
That's honest and fair. I'm not sure which way I would have voted, to be honest with you. I do think that I would have voted Scatabo, but I definitely
3 seed instead of Boise. I will say that.
I definitely like put it out there a lot that I felt like
would have put that game here, so
which would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Scatabo deserved that invite to New York. Maybe not over Jeanty, but over Gabriel. I would have put him in over Gabriel.
So it'll be a fun off season leading up to for ASU for you're probably the biggest crowd they ever had out there for spring ball probably when they announced those dates, and you're going to have some pretty large crowds for those September night games out at Mountain America Stadium, and then once conference play starts, they're going to have to deal with something they haven't had to deal with for a long time at ASU, and that's expectations. And so we'll see what they can do, and maybe make another run to the Big 12 championship, and hopefully the Big 12 gets a little more respect next year than just getting one team in there. Because if there was one team that got shafted in the 12-team deal, it was BYU.
I agree.
Losses, and they beat SMU, who was in there so.
They beat SMU on the road too.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, Gridiron. Hey, I appreciate you so much for hanging out. Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't. Gridiron always been honest with the community and taking care of everybody, making sure that everybody manual scoreboard. Every day got a daily fact coming out of his Twitter X account.
Yeah, I got that off season again. Yeah.
Yeah. So things that we should be checking for that you do. The recruiting pages.
I got an article on Sports 360 AZ that I just posted this morning. I was out and about last weekend. I was out at O'Connor, not watching Sevens competition, but giving the big guys some love. The AK Dogs camp was going on up there. They had kids ranging in age from 8 all the way up to high school, about 150 kids out there. And the best part of
Coach Karchner. That's Coach Karchner's camp.
Former,
yes, Coach K.
And he managed to get 17 former Arizona high school football players that are now in college to come back or stay in town, since it was still winter break, and be the coaches for the event. So I got
I love it.
I mentioned all the coaches that helped out, and just a little bit about what that camp is. A few up and comers there that were our freshmen and sophomore guys. Was kind of the main age range you had for the high school guys.
Okay, hey, I love it, man. I think that Coach K does some amazing things with the big fellas in the community. I know he's worked heavily with like Isaiah Glass and guys like that.
It was one of the coaches. He was there.
Yeah. So always super impressed. He's helped out at Flight Club. So shout out to him. And I can't looked like it was a big success. So super impressed. All right, Gridiron. I'll be catching up with you this time next week. Where we're going to be breaking down another 7th team. Who knows? It could be. Who knows which 7th team we're going to break down? But until February, me and Gridiron are going to talk about. Hey, me and Gridiron are going to take this opportunity to break down some of these 7th teams, some of these national teams that are doing some traveling, moving around a little bit. In February, we've got some other stuff coming up. So just keep staying tuned. Gridiron, I appreciate you hanging out, and I'll catch up with you next week. Cool?
All right, we'll see you.
All right, take care. My guy Gridiron, the one and only, and like Eric Newman would say, the handsomest man in Arizona high school media. Maybe all Arizona media, who knows? Like, anyways, man, there is so much stuff going on in the football scene and stuff like that. Even though it's the football off season, a lot of coaching changes. Teams still going through the hiring process. I know everybody's anxiously waiting for Castile and Mountain Point. And some of these other schools to make their announcement. I saw that Coach Hart got the opportunity over there at Mesquite. So shout out to Coach Hart. Super excited to see how that program is transformed. But there's still I have a feeling that there's going to be some openings coming up that we didn't expect. So stand by. I also want to show some love to my guy Dante Tyson from Peoria, getting it at Peoria, the Oregon offer. Shout out to Coach Michalowski throwing the offer that way. An absolute stud athlete, Dante Tyson, super talented, 27. Other than that, your boy Chili, I'm going to make my way out of here. Real quick, I do want to show some love to my guy, Ball Dog AC. If y'all don't know, super talented camera guy. Football, basketball, he does it all. You can usually catch him at a Perry game during basketball season, doing the Cole Pete documentary and all that good stuff. But Ball Dog AC, that's my dude. Rock with him heavy for about 4 or 5 years now. So if you guys see him around the way, just don't dunk on him, all right? Other than that, there are the guys over there at God, I cannot remember the collective that they got, but it's like Pete and Doolin and all those guys. Super talented camera guys over there. So wanted to make sure that I showed them love. They're usually pretty heavy on Instagram and things like that. One of my guys that I did show love to, but he's a basketball guy mostly, Timeout Dev. Make sure that you guys show him love when you get a chance. Super talented camera dude, does a lot of good work. And then the guys that I use the most, like K-Viz, BJ Media, some of those guys, D-Ghost. Make sure that you guys take care of your camera people, show them some love. And I'm not just talking about shooting flicks and stuff. I'm talking about the full-on videos and edits and things like that that you need. Make sure that you guys are taking care of all of them. So other than that, your boy Chili, I'm going to make my way out of here at Just Chili. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Holler at your guy if you guys need anything. There are a lot of coaches floating around. Make sure you guys got your cleats ready and you're ready to go. Other than that, Forks Up Forever. Y'all know the